Greetings, the illuminated ones. Don't let the figures in your bank account deceive you. Heaven has already marked you as individuals of exceptional worth. Prepare yourselves, for some of you are about to transition from financial uncertainty to substantial wealth transfers unfolding with a speed that may seem almost unreal. But be warned, sudden prosperity is not merely a cascade of commas and celebrations. It brings with it spiritual challenges, psychological complexities, and an entirely new dimension of temptation. Reflect on this. What if the perceived delay wasn't a denial, but a carefully orchestrated divine plan? The sobering reality is that over 70% of lottery winners face bankruptcy or financial ruin within 5 years. Why? Not because wealth itself is inherently corrupting, but because they were never adequately equipped to manage such abundance. But that will not be your narrative, chosen ones. This is not solely about financial gain. It's about achieving alignment, embracing your divine assignment, and experiencing exponential growth. God has been meticulously refining your inner strength, preparing you for a destiny far grander than mere material success. He's not just preparing to bestow wealth upon you, he's preparing to entrust you with it. And yes, your transformation will undoubtedly bewilder some. One moment they may disregard you, the next they'll be frantically searching for ways to emulate wealth without betraying their envy. So if you've been experiencing an unusual sense of calm lately, if your spirit has been quietly anticipating the unfamiliar, if you found yourself checking your bank balance despite knowing it's limited, consider this message your affirmation. You're not just gaining wealth. You're becoming a powerful testament to God's transformative power in human form. Let's delve deeper into this. First, understand that sudden wealth is a spiritual trial, disguised as a material blessing. It appears as a reward, yet it serves as a profound examination of your character and values. When the funds finally arrive, when your accounts are overflowing, and when you no longer have to fret about daily expenses, that's when the true test begins. In times of scarcity, your options are limited, forcing you to be cautious, deliberate, and prayerful. But as opportunities expand, so do the temptations. And this is where many falter. Sudden wealth doesn't just provide luxury, it grants you power, and power is a mirror reflecting your deepest motivations, insecurities, and long-held desires for validation. These suppressed emotions will surface, and if you lack a solid foundation, if your identity remains tied to past deprivations, wealth will control you rather than serve you. Some may mistakenly believe that God bestows wealth to flaunt his favor, but that's a limited understanding. God grants wealth to assess your stewardship, not to inflate your ego. It's not a trophy to be displayed, but a tool to be utilized. If you haven't healed from past wounds, you'll wield that tool recklessly, harming yourself and others in the process. That's why God often permits a period of delay before sudden wealth arrives, not as a punishment, but as preparation. He needs to cleanse you of greed, eradicate insecurity, and fortify your spirit against the allure of ego. For wealth in the hands of a broken person is akin to fire in the hands of someone who doesn't respect its power. It doesn't purify, it destroys. Thus, the arrival of sudden wealth should be met with preparation more than celebration. It will reveal your true passions, deepest fears, most trusted confidants, and unresolved wounds. Many will eagerly seek the breakthrough but lament the exposure that accompanies it. However, the chosen ones understand the divine purpose. If God is entrusting you with this level of abundance, it signifies that He has already assessed your soul and deemed you ready. Second money doesn't alter your essence. It amplifies your inherent qualities. Money simply provides a platform for the real you to express itself. This is why sudden wealth poses such a danger to those who haven't undergone inner transformation. When wealth materializes, it doesn't arrive alone. It brings influence, attention, and access, all of which amplify your inner self. If you harbored bitterness before, you'll become reckless. If you felt insecure, you'll crave validation from strangers. If you secretly desired power, you'll use money to manipulate others. Money doesn't create these traits, it exposes them. People often say, once I have money, I'll finally be happy. But if happiness was absent before, wealth will only accentuate the emptiness, because wealth isn't a solution, it's a spotlight. It will illuminate everything you've avoided facing. Suddenly you'll confront your habits, fears, addictions, and thirst for applause. If you haven't mastered your impulses, you'll deceive yourself into thinking you're simply enjoying life, when in reality you're drowning in distractions. This explains why many chosen ones endure seasons of lack before their breakthrough. It's not punishment, but training. God grants you time to liberate yourself from ego trauma and unhealthy patterns. He observes your actions when no one is watching. For if you are faithful with little, you can be trusted with more. However, if you're already using your last resources to impress those who don't care, what will you do with millions? Wealth will amplify your name. But if your character is underdeveloped, the spotlight will feel like a curse. You'll question the sincerity of those who claim to care and second-guess every opportunity. If you lack a firm foundation, you'll attempt to become who others expect rather than embracing your true self. The preparation season is crucial. It's where God shapes the kind of person who can handle blessings without being broken by them. Money is neutral. It merely magnifies. When you're chosen, God desires your wisdom to be more prominent than your wealth, for wisdom is what sustains it. Third, the delay served as divine protection against premature exposure. Many assume that unfulfilled desires are destined to remain unfulfilled. But when it comes to chosen ones and sudden wealth, delay often represents divine safeguarding. You weren't being ignored or forgotten. You were being shielded. If wealth had arrived before you were fully prepared, you might have entrusted it to undeserving individuals. You might have poured your blessings into leaky containers, people who only knew how to take, not reciprocate. The delay wasn't a rejection. It was God saying, not while you're still surrounded by the wrong influences. Wealth attracts opportunists. People change quickly when money enters the picture. Friends become competitors and supporters become manipulators. When you're emotionally vulnerable, you might confuse loyalty with mere history. Longevity doesn't guarantee that someone is meant to accompany you on your journey. So God allowed time to reveal true intentions. He allowed people to expose their true nature. He used betrayal to teach discernment, not out of cruelty, but because he knew that premature wealth could lead to sabotage. Chosen ones are designed for extraordinary purposes. You're not just receiving money, You're gaining influence, impact, and unprecedented favor. That power cannot fall into reckless hands, even if that reckless person is who you once were. Therefore, he slowed the process down. He guided you into seasons of solitude. He removed false companions, compelled you to confront your wounds, and taught you to stand on your own spiritually. If you didn't learn to protect your peace in times of scarcity, you'd be overwhelmed by abundance. The silence in your life was God creating distance between you and those who would have depleted your energy. You mistook them for supporters, but they were merely spectators. You believed they were with you, but they were waiting to capitalize on your success. God had to release them before he released the flow of wealth. When it finally arrives, you'll understand the reason for the delay. You'll realize that those who remained never needed your wealth to value your worth. Fourth, the impending wealth is for funding kingdom-level assignments, not personal indulgence. The wealth destined for you is not solely for comfort. It is intrinsically linked to your divine calling. When God blesses a chosen one with sudden financial increase, it's never arbitrary. It's not intended for frivolous spending or self-aggrandizement. Such thinking is short-sighted. You are being entrusted with something sacred, divine currency, not for flexing, but for building. Not for impressing, but for impacting. The wealth coming your way is meant to finance something far grander than your personal lifestyle. It is meant to fund your legacy. Chosen ones not only live well, they build well. They plant seeds that blossom into movements. They address problems that others neglect. They amplify voices that carry truth. They cultivate safety, healing, and advancement for others. That's why the delay felt so prolonged. God wasn't merely preparing you to receive, he was preparing you to manage. If wealth reaches someone before they comprehend their purpose, they squander it on fleeting validation. But if it reaches someone who has been refined, they multiply it for generations. God is strategic. He bestows wealth according to assignment. He is not blessing you randomly. He is intentionally resourcing you because where you are headed, you'll need more than faith. You'll need finances. Purpose demands power, and in this world, wealth carries weight. You're about to wield both. That's why he stripped you of the need for external validation. He didn't want your vision to be overshadowed by performance. He wanted your heart to remain pure. So when the blessing arrives, you'll know precisely how to use it. This is not a season for ostentation. It is a season to build, to fund ideas that transform lives, to support liberation, to uplift the marginalized, and to answer silent prayers whispered by those who have nothing to offer in return. That is genuine kingdom work. When the wealth lands in your hands, it will feel divinely ordained, because it will be more than just money. It will be evidence that God found you worthy to carry answers the world desperately needs. Fifth, you are currently under quiet observation by financial gatekeepers. Unbeknownst to you, your life is being carefully examined, not by adversaries, but by financial gatekeepers, individuals with the power to unlock doors that money alone cannot access. Banks, strategic investors, business leaders, silent benefactors, and even divine allies you've yet to meet are watching how you conduct yourself in this season of scarcity. They are less impressed by superficial displays and more interested in your faith, discipline, patience, and integrity under pressure. They're evaluating your character, not just your potential. They want to see how you respond when the spotlight is off. Do you uphold ethical standards even when no one is watching? Are you generous even when it requires sacrifice? Are you building with purpose or merely chasing fleeting trends? These gatekeepers have encountered talent before. They've seen charm, skill, and charisma. What they rarely encounter is spiritual maturity combined with financial humility. That's what distinguishes you. They are meticulously documenting their observations. Some are in positions to provide funding. Others are connected to systems that can expedite your vision. Some are prayerfully considering whom to align with. Others are being divinely guided to invest in someone who has been tested and refined. You're not waiting on money. Money is awaiting your readiness. Chosen ones attract not only resources but also divine timing. You've remained faithful during hardship. You've upheld honesty when compromise seemed easier. You've built steadily even without recognition. That's why the right people are now taking notice, not because you begged or compromised your values, but because there's something sacred in your efforts, something authentic that cannot be bought or faked. When the door opens, it will seem sudden to others, but not to you. You'll recognize that it was earned through quiet dedication. While others were performing, you were preparing, and that preparation qualifies you not only to receive wealth, but to manage it with wisdom, power, and grace. Maintain your excellence. The gatekeepers are closer than you realize. Sixth wealth will trigger unresolved issues in people who feel you've bypassed the process. The arrival of sudden wealth in your life is not just a blessing. It's a catalyst for those who thought they understood you, especially those who believed they were ahead. To them, your breakthrough feels unjust, not because you've done anything wrong, but because they assumed you'd remain in a subordinate position. You were the underdog, the one they underestimated, the one they mocked in private. Therefore, when God elevates you publicly, it threatens their sense of control. People who haven't healed from past wounds don't see your success as progress. They see it as a personal attack. It reminds them of their unresolved issues, unfulfilled goals, and the excuses they've used to justify their inaction. Your rise forces them to confront the possibility that favor cannot be earned through pride, status, or connections, but originates from something deeper, something they've neglected to cultivate. They won't just envy what you have. They'll question why you specifically were chosen. Some will attribute your success to luck. Others will minimize your journey. They'll dismiss it as a fluke, a coincidence, or imply that you're engaging in unethical practices. Acknowledging that your breakthrough was earned through quiet obedience, personal sacrifice, and years of misunderstanding would force them to confront their wasted opportunities, a truth they cannot bear. It's not just your wealth, it's the reflection it casts. You become a living mirror, and what they see in that mirror is unflattering, but that's the price of divine elevation. Your radiance will make some uncomfortable, not because it's offensive, but because it's truthful. It reveals that God promotes based on purpose, not popularity. When He chooses someone to bear wealth, He examines hearts, not resumes. Don't waste time trying to validate your worth. Let your life speak for itself. Let them assume what they will. What they perceive as luck, heaven recognizes as legacy. Your wealth isn't about revenge. It's about restoring what was overlooked, dismissed, and belittled. You're not just rich in resources, you're rich in resilience, a quality they'll never comprehend. Seventh, the real challenge will be navigating the isolation that wealth creates. One of the most challenging aspects of sudden wealth is the sense of isolation it can create. Everyone discusses the success, the lifestyle, and the elevation. But few acknowledge the isolation. As you rise higher, the quieter it becomes, not because you've changed, but because those around you have. Money shifts your status, relationships, boundaries, levels of trust, and environment. People you once cherished may begin to regard you differently. Some will demand immediate access to your new blessings. Others will guilt-trip you for not giving more, doing more, or remaining where they left you. You may be accused of forgetting your roots when you're simply safeguarding your peace. You'll discern who was connected to your journey and who was truly connected to your soul, and that circle may be smaller than you anticipated. Wealth reveals expectations. Those who once cheered for you may become envious. Some may become passive-aggressive. Some may sever ties without warning. Others may feign support while secretly hoping for your downfall. It becomes difficult to distinguish genuine connections from superficial ones. The resulting loneliness can be overwhelming, feeling like a punishment. However, it's actually a form of protection. God knows that not everyone can accompany you on your journey. Some were only meant to be part of your survival story. If they had access to your abundance, they would have depleted your resources. That's why the circle shrinks, why the conversation shifts, and why the silence grows louder. It's not rejection, it's refinement. The isolation is not a curse, but a sacred space where you can hear God's guidance, make wise decisions, and move with clarity. If you're not grounded in purpose, that quiet can feel suffocating. But if you're rooted, you'll recognize it as a sign of being set apart, not pushed aside. Not everyone is meant to walk with royalty. Some are only meant to observe from afar. Eighth, wealth will attract deceptive contracts disguised as business opportunities. Sudden wealth brings opportunities and traps, often concealed as blessings. These may appear as partnerships, investments, and once-in-a-lifetime offers. However, not every investor is a divine connection. Some are agents sent to disrupt, derail, or destroy your calling. If you're not spiritually alert, you may unknowingly align with individuals who were never meant to be part of your future. Satan also provides funding, especially when he sees you supporting healing, truth restoration, or anything that challenges his agenda. The enemy is strategic. If he cannot stop the blessing, he will try to contaminate it. He sends collaborators who appear trustworthy but are spiritually toxic, individuals who can mimic your language, mirror your vision, and appeal to your emotions. Beneath the surface lies control, manipulation, and hidden agendas. These are not mere business deals, they're demonic contracts, and breaking them requires more than legal action. Discernment becomes crucial during financial breakthroughs. You cannot base decisions solely on numbers. You must understand the spiritual implications. Who is providing the funding? What are their values? What are the long-term consequences? Some agreements may promise quick success, but tie your name to systems you were meant to dismantle. Some may offer platforms but silence your voice. Some partners may invest publicly while draining you privately. Remember that not every open door is divinely ordained. Some are designed to deceive but are supported by darkness. You were called to build something pure, holy, and liberating. Your resources must be clean. Your partnerships must be aligned, and your decisions must be rooted in peace, not pressure. Don't hesitate to walk away from seemingly lucrative opportunities that feel wrong. Don't ignore red flags simply because the financial rewards are significant. Wealth gained through bondage is not a blessing, it's a trap. Protect your mission. Pray before you commit and trust that God will never ask you to compromise your calling to fulfill His promises. Ninth, the first million isn't the blessing, it's the call to arms. Many perceive their first million as the destination, believing that it will bring ease and contentment. However, for the chosen ones, that financial milestone is a doorway marking the start of a new level of spiritual warfare. It's not a time for relaxation, it's a time for preparedness. Wealth exposes you, attracting both attention and opposition. You will face legal challenges, unexpected audits, and manipulative contracts designed to ensnare you. You will face financial attacks, unforeseen losses, and deceptive advisors. Ancestral forces that kept your lineage in cycles of poverty, addiction, and failure will rise up. They were assigned to keep wealth out of your family, and you have broken that pattern. This triggers warfare that extends beyond your personal struggles. You are fighting for your legacy now. Every decision carries weight. Your discernment must be sharper than ever in every conversation, every offer, and every connection. Not everyone who applauds your success wants you to continue winning. Some just want to get close enough to distract, drain, or detour you. The first million is not just a testament to your resilience. It's a confirmation that you've entered a new battlefield. You must be prepared to protect what you've built, to say no, even when it's difficult, and to distance yourself from anything that threatens your peace, values, or vision. You haven't just become wealthy. You've become visible, and your battles are now public, but so is God's protection. Remain grounded and wise, for the true blessing is not the money. It's the strength, strategy, and clarity you gain through the fight. 10th, you're being positioned to impact nations, not just impress peers. The wealth you're about to receive is not about competition. It's about your commission. You're not being elevated to show off. You're being elevated to give. God didn't just choose you to be wealthy. He chose you to be responsible. You're not simply receiving money, you're being entrusted with becoming a conduit for divine provision, someone who can transform resources into revival. The wealth coming to you is not random, it's strategically allocated. It's intended to reach overlooked, broken, and neglected places. It's meant to rebuild devastated communities, rescue gifted individuals who are hidden, fund powerful ministries, and dismantle oppressive systems. This isn't about increasing your status, it's about expanding your reach. You're being positioned to bless on a scale that even governments cannot achieve. So to wrap it all up, remember this: the wealth that's on its way to you isn't just about a bigger bank account. It's about stepping into a bigger version of yourself, a version that's ready to use abundance to make a real, lasting difference in the world. It's about aligning with your divine purpose and understanding that this prosperity is a powerful tool for good. Now I'd love to hear from you what resonated with you the most. Do you have any questions or experiences you'd like to share? Please leave a comment below. Let's start a conversation and support each other on this incredible journey. And if you found this message helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future insights and encouragement. I'm excited to continue exploring these topics with you. Blessings to you all, to you all, to you all, to you all.